Shalom to the Akim and Aqua that's out there, that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity in the four corners of the world. Also, Shalom and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who continue to rule and always have the truth from day one. I want to say Kahalal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah Kodash. This is Yasad again with a short lesson. One precept, one scripture. And you will know the subject of the entire lesson here. Revelation 13:16. He caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And no man might buy or sell, save he that had a mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right? So in verse 17 he say here that no man might buy or sell. So we're showing you here that the chip is actually being used to buy or sell, right? So where this comes from, just saw news that there's this thing coming to Trinidad. It's called the e-identity system in the works, where the Prime Minister wants to get e-identification for everyone here in Trinidad. Right? E-identification here is the EID, as short, is a digital solution for proof of identity of citizens or organizations. For example, in view of to access benefits or services provided by government authorities, banks, and other companies for mobile payments, etc. Apart from online authentication and login, many electronic identity services also give users the option to sign electronic documents with a digital signature. Right? So initially, you see here they set it up an ID system that is electronic. Right? The passports and the birth paper and my certificate and death certificate and stuff here already went to what they call machine readable passport, machine readable birth papers, etc. Right? They're going another step forward here where they're going to actually use electronic ID card. Read a little more. One form of EID is electronic identification card, etc. EIC, sorry, which is a physical identity card that can be used for online and offline personal identification or authentication. The EIC is a smart card in ID format of a regular bank card with identity information printed on the surface, such as personal details on a photograph, and an embedded RFID microchip, similar to that in the biometric passport. So you see, this initial card has a RFID chip in it. So as is, we currently use debit cards and credit cards, etc. Alright, and those things are one part of your wallet, which is the money part. And now this part is going to be the identification part, which is separate, another card. Eventually, they're going to combine both of them together and put them together into a RFID microchip implant that's going to be implanted into everyone, which is the mark of the beast that I read in Revelation 13:16. Right? Because in a matter of time that this evolved to that so-called better system, people might start losing their card, people might start thieving it or thieving information from it. And you know what? They're going to say they're improving it, put it in this little tiny little capsule, stick it in your hand. Right? The chip stores the information printed on the card, such as the card holders and date of birth, and the holders' photos. Several photos may be taken from different angles along with different facial expressions, thus allowing the biometric facial recognition systems to measure and analyze the overall structure, shape, and proportion of the face. It may also store holders' fingerprints. The card may be used on online authentication, such as for age identification, for e-government applications, as an electronic signature provided by a private company may also be stored on the chip. So this chip already on this card will have all the information basically. It's just to add the money part now, and that make the perfect microchip. And eventually, as I said, they're going to put it into one capsule and stick it in your hand. Right? Now look at this. Countries which currently issue government issued EIDs include I'm not going to read out all of them, but look at it. Right? So that market of peace is not only referred to one country, but it's actually referred to basically the world is going to go this new electronic ID system, which is also going to bring into the usher in the microchip implant, which is the mark of the beast. Right? So that is that one. This is a RFID microchip implant. This is just a photo of it. But they're gonna put everything inside here. You see the little X-ray of the hand where it's going to go, or maybe right. It's the size of a rice grain about. Right, and you read about it. A human microchip implant is typically an identifying integrated circuits device or RFID transponder encased in silicate glass and are implanted in the body of a human being. Right, human being. This type of subdermal implant usually contains the unique ID number that can be linked to information contained in an external database such as personal identification, law enforcement, medical history, medication, allergies, contact information, and money. Right? So clearly you see that EID card is the first step towards the microchip. Right? There's a ID 2020 agenda. Right? The ID 2020 is a non-governmental organization which advocates for digital ID for the billion undocumented people worldwide and underserved groups like refugees. Right? Dakota Gruner is the executive director at ID 2020. The NGO was relatively unknown before being publicated because of the misinformation related to the COVID-19 pandemic by conspiracy theories. And I wonder, they always talk about this conspiracy theories thing. They always find a way to hide it and say it's lie. Like they will tell you the UFO is aliens. They would never tell you that UFO is the angels. Right? Yeah. The results of being caught up in an over 90 conspiracy theories, meanwhile, can be dramatic. In a matter of weeks, ID 2020, which advocates for digital ID for the billion undocumented people worldwide and underserved groups like refugees, has gone from niche international policy operator to the subject of thousands of hostile media postings to having to call the FBI. Here's how. So basically, if you keep calling something green and we call it blue, after a while you're gonna see it's green. Right? So that's the same kind of thing that actually come in here in this new ID 20. Right? The public coalition members include representatives from Microsoft, Accenture, as well as NGOs, academia, blockchain firms, and other ID 2020s advising the government of Bangladesh on a vaccination record system. So that sounds familiar because right now we're going through COVID-19, right? And the new normal is wearing masks and social distancing and washing your hands and using hand sanitizer, etc. But to get ready and for you to go back to normal, like how it was before, they're going to tell you that you need to be vaccinated. They'll give you a particular ID or chip or band or tag or something for you to say, okay, that person was vaccinated, so we good. They don't need to wear a mask, they don't need to do this, they don't need to go that, they don't need to line up, right? So all this is steps that pushing towards the microchip. Right? This is the patent from Microsoft, right? It ends at 6060606, and it's a cryptocurrency system using the body activity data. How could you get a cryptocurrency using the body system? Is because it's going to be a microchip, right? As again is saying, let's see if there's anything here. Human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to the server. A sensor connectivity coupled to comprised in the device or the user may sense body activity of the user. That device, what they're talking about, is actually a microchip. Right? Bill Gates Foundation COVID-19 vaccine is a satanic plot, says Oscar winner. And a lot of people are opening to this thing and realizing where this really heading to. Right? Microsoft patent recent patent of a human-powered crypto mining based on sensors that convert physical or mental activity into computer power has generated a lot of interest and captured the imagination of the public. But perhaps some are looking at it a little too closely. Another thing about getting computer power, right? The reason for putting it in your right hand or your, according to the scripture, Revelation 13:16, in your right hand or your forehead, because those places have high static electricity that flows. So you're actually going to use that to power up the chip. Right? A lot of people opening their eyes to this thing here. Right? Nikita Mikhailov, the Oscar-winning Russian director, recently unleashed his own conspiracy after taking a closer look at the patent number for Microsoft crypto system, right? Which is WO 2020 060606. So he did a patent in 2020. So you see, this was already planned way in front for you to give this. And why it takes 666, which is, as you say in Revelation 13:17, with the number of the beast, right? And why 2020, which is when the COVID actually hit and cripple everyone, and they're actually going to bring in the forced vaccinations, which eventually going to bring in the forced chips, right? Right, Mikhailov has adamant that the patent is the first step in a satanic plan to microchip the entire global population. It was clear to him by the appearance of the devil's number 666 in the patent application. On the program, Mikhailov was quoted the 60606 part is somewhat alarming. You probably understand this, right? Is a coincidence or an international selection of such symbol, and which is an apocalypse of John, is called the number of the beast, the 666. And just to end it here, does Microsoft own patent 666 about implant microchips in people? Right? There's an article here and they're asking if it's true or false, and they're saying no, it's false. And yes, they really own this patent, though they're not planning to microchip you, and it's just cloud and smoke, right, to hide the real thing, because now we're seeing this thing is so obvious, those who could see it. Right, I just want to end this again with scripture. This is Revelation 13:16, and he calls it all, both small and great. He say all, and I showed you a list of the whole world, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And I told you why is those places though, because they have the highest electricity charge, so they charge up the chip. And that no man might buy or sell, save that he that had a mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right, verse 18, this is the number here. Here is wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 3score and 6, which is 666. So with that, I want to say shalom until the next time.